The evening began light and cheerful, the kind you expect to drift by without anything notable happening. Sarah, my wife, and I were at a small get-together at one of her friend homes. People chatted, laughed, shared stories, and I felt at ease, completely comfortable. Then, almost as a playful punctuation mark, Sarah looked at me with that familiar mischievous spark in her eyes and said, "He's my backup husband." Her words hovered in the air for a moment. A laugh slipped out of me before I could stop it. My mind scrambled to process it. She had to be joking, right? I'd known Sarah for years. She was playful, teasing, and sometimes sharp in her humor, but usually with affection behind it. Still, there was something unusually casual, almost certain, in the way she said it that made me pause. I kept the energy light, matched her tone, and replied without thinking it through. "Funny, because you're my backup wife." The room froze for a second. I realized immediately that I had stepped over some invisible line, crossing from harmless banter into territory that revealed something deeper. Sarah blinked, her smile faltering, replaced by an expression I couldn't quite interpret. The air shifted slightly, but undeniably. A joke meant to entertain suddenly reflected our relationship back at us. It made me wonder, was she not as invested as I thought? Or had I been more present in this marriage than she had ever been? I didn't doubt her love, but the balance felt momentarily off. So instead of reacting emotionally, I chose to observe. I watched her throughout the evening. How she moved, how she spoke, how she engaged with others. She was still warm, still attentive, still present. Yet under that laughter, I sensed something held back. A distance I hadn't noticed before. That one joke cracked open a layer I hadn't known existed. Now I had to figure out how to navigate what I had seen. For the rest of the night, I played along with the group, laughing, chatting, keeping everything light. But inside, my mind worked relentlessly, revisiting her words, her tone, her intentions, and the subtle rhythms of our marriage. What seemed like an innocent joke was actually a small window into how she viewed us. Our roles, our dynamic, the way she compartmentalized certain things. And after my joking response, I could tell she was assessing me too. Her friends noticed the shift as well. A few gave each other quiet, knowing looks. Social perception settled over us like a soft weight. For the first time, I understood that marriage does exist only between two people. It breathes in public spaces, in shared glances, in how private jokes land when others are watching. My response, light as it seemed, changed the dynamic just a bit. I could feel Sarah reevaluating, trying to decide whether I'd taken her words seriously or brushed them aside with humor. Later, driving home, our conversation was casual, almost dismissive of the tension beneath the surface. But internally, I felt a new awareness, a spark of clarity. Marriage has layers. There's a visible one everyone sees, laughter, affection, smiles. And then there's a private one, where humor mixes with truth, where doubts quietly live, where unspoken meanings gather. Her joke had cracked open that hidden layer. And I knew I needed to start paying attention, not just to what she said, but to the spaces between her words. That night, I found myself thinking back to our early years. How easy it had been to tease, to laugh, to play off each other. We balanced naturally, each joke carrying warmth. But this time, the humor felt different, more like a caution sign. A reminder that even in strong relationships, perception and intention don't always line up. And how we respond in those moments determines whether the bond deepens or frays. By the next morning, I noticed a slight shift in Sarah. She was quieter, more thoughtful, as if she too had been replaying the moment. Over breakfast, I decided to talk about it, not with blame, but with honesty. About last night, I began gently. "That joke you made, it stayed with me." She looked up, surprised at first, then softened. "It was just a joke," she said, her voice light, but edged with hesitation. "I didn't mean anything by it." I nodded. "I know, but it made me think about us, about how we see each other, and how much we keep to ourselves versus what we show others." Her gaze dropped. I could see the meaning sink in. She understood this wasn't about a joke. It was about awareness. We talked, Really talked. Not the casual morning chatter, but an honest conversation about feelings, boundaries, interpretations. I explained how her comment hit me. She admitted that sometimes she worried I wouldn't understand her private thoughts or her need to vent through harmless teasing. And something shifted between us, quietly but unmistakably. The tension dissolved, replaced by clarity. Humor had opened the door. Honesty walked through it. Sarah let out a small, embarrassed laugh. I guess we both think of each other as backups sometimes, don't we? I squeezed her hand. Maybe, but only in jest, not in reality. The message was clear. Even in strong marriages, small remarks, jokes, gestures, they all carry weight. How we interpret them and communicate afterward defines trust, depth, and resilience. We went on with our day, both more aware, more connected. Even the lightheartedness that returned later felt deeper, grounded. A simple joke had become a catalyst for understanding, and it reminded me of something important. Laughter matters, but insight lasts longer. Recognizing the layers beneath humor, the intentions or reflections, is what keeps a marriage strong and transforms a fleeting comment into genuine connection.